You don't really need a lot of different tools for quilting, but all quilters like another gadget. One of the things that's really difficult is getting your exact 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I designed a tool that I call the Perfect Piecer, and I want to explain how this works for many ways. I mean, I find that I use it for many things besides marking seams, and I want to show you some of those uses. I designed this tool to cover most of the angles that we use in quilting so that you know exactly where to stop and start your stitching. So for instance, if it's a square, we have our 90-degree angle right here. Now, there's various ways you can use it. I can take the 90-degree angle on the piecer and I can line it up, mark a dot right through the hole. And so that dot, that's the white dot that shows you exactly where to start your stitching. You could also, if you don't want to do that, we can line the dotted line up along the edge of the piece and then just draw your line, and you can have a whole entire line for stitching. If you don't feel you need the entire line, we can line up the right angle and we can just put dots and you can sew dot to dot. So there are various ways that you can do that, but that would be using the right angle for any of your sewing pieces that have a right angle. If we were working with 60-degree diamonds, you'll see here, there's the 60-degree side. We have two angles. We've got a 60-degree angle and we've got this other angle which is 120 degrees. There's no reason, I mean, you need to know the numbers there, but you line that angle up right with the size of your piece, and you take like a chalk pencil or a mechanical pencil, depending on what's going to show up on your fabric, and you make a dot right through there at that angle. Now there's another angle on here. We have the 120-degree angle, so you can line it up on this side. And once again, you can mark through the hole. That tells you exactly where to stop and start sewing. Now the one that's a little confusing here, this is a 45-degree diamond and there's a 45-degree angle, and we got that angle on here as well. So you line that up, you see how it exactly fits the piece. I try to keep two pencils, like a light colored one and a dark one. There you can see the dot better with the dark. Now here's this angle. That's an odd angle, but you definitely, for sewing 8-pointed stars, you need to know exactly where to start and stop. And this is the one that's a little confusing for people at first. It's marked on here, it's 135 degrees, so that's what this angle is, 135 degrees, and it's right here. So if you follow the miter line on the piecer up to where that opposite that angle, and then follow up along this side. So let me show you. The miter line goes along here. You see there's my miter line along this side, and then I just pull it down until this angle falls along there, and I can mark that dot. And that tells me the exact place to start and stop on that diamond. Now, sometimes you have curved pieces, so what do you do about curves? It's really important to get your exact 1/4 inch. It's always important, but it's more important on curved pieces, or else you get puckering. So I use the Perfect Piecer to carefully mark the sewing line. You only need to mark the line on the piece facing you because you've got your exact 1/4 inch on the piece. I'll take the piecer and I will line up the edge. I just use this square side. So I'm lining up the edge of the right angle, and I'm going to put a dot through that hole. So that's the first dot. Then I'm going to just move it carefully around, do another and another. As you work your way around the piece, always make sure that the edge of this right angle of the piecer is right flush with the edge of your piece, and just keep working your way around the piece. So now you can see how the perfect 1/4 inch line by way of dots has been marked all around this curved pieces. Having this perfect 1/4 inch seam allowance is equally important whether you're sewing by hand or by machine. I use the piecer for other things as well. You've got this little 4-inch ruler along one side, you've got 3 inches along the other, so if you're just measuring certain things, it's good for that. I also use it as a miter line for cutting miters on pieces. So for instance, if I needed to have a perfect miter, 45-degree miter here, I line up this miter line on the piecer. So I've got it along the edge of the stripe, so I can just mark the miter line and then cut it. So these sharp angles are ones that are used for when you're doing mariner's compass type quilts, where you have the really sharp angles. One of them is half of a 45 degree, so that's your perfect mariner's compass angle when you have the 16 points going around. And then the one that's the 30 degree is half of your 60. So if you're using a mariner's compass that is based on 6 or 12 points, that would be used. So that's my perfect piecer. One little tool that makes it so easy to get perfect seams and perfect points, whether you're sewing by hand or machine. You can find the perfect piecer at independent quilt shops and on my website, jinnybeyer.com.